there was anyone who couldn't join us today. So we are now recording, and let's go ahead and get started. My name is Alexis Wolstein. I am one of the librarians here at the CSU Pueblo Library. You see me in my office today. Frankly, you're probably going to hear me better than you would have if I tried to do this in person with a mask on. So we are going to work together today, going through the library website. I'm going to specifically look at Super Search and some of the refining tools there, as well as pointing out our research guides and some databases that might be especially useful to you as social work students doing that research. So I can't go into the depth that I would like to on any one of these topics, but I'm going to try and give you a nice overview on how to look the best places to look for scholarly peer-reviewed resources, and then how to use these tools that are built into all of these different search tools and databases so that you can limit your results to just that. So that is going to be our focus, is peer-reviewed scholarly resources, and I'm going to, of course, very explicitly point out ones that are available to you online, and then how to access ones through interlibrary loan as well. So, like I said, I don't expect you all to get everything that we talk about today. It's one of the reasons why I'm recording it. And if you leave with nothing else, then that there's ways to get help and to look at this again, you're doing okay. I am the subject librarian for social work, which means that I work with your instructors like Savra to make sure that we have resources that are going to work for the type of research and projects that you're doing in the courses for social work. But I am not your social work professor. And what I mean when I say that is that I am an expert in the context. I'm an expert in helping you find the information and knowing where to look if you need information or help with the content. So what does it mean? Is it the right thing for my research project? That's where your professor is the expert. So I'm your context expert, so all the information, finding it and where to look, whereas Professor Savra and other folks are going to be your content experts. So just keep in mind that you have a lot of people who are here to help you. And if I ever say, hey, that might be a better question for your professor, that's not because I'm trying to shrug you off. It's because I want to make sure you're getting to the right person with the right expertise. All right, so I'm going to pause, take a sip of my coffee, and if anyone has a question for the chat, please feel to drop it in now. Otherwise, we will get started. All right. So to start with, you're going to see a couple very obnoxious bars here on the library homepage. I'm going to go ahead and close these out, but first let's just touch on what they mean. As you may have seen in the email that went out yesterday, the library building is now closed to anyone except for faculty, staff, and students. So you are able to access the library during our regular hours, but our stacks are limited, so you can't necessarily go and pick up books off the shelves. You can request those, and what we do now is we just have them waiting for you at the checkout desk, and there's also curbside options as well. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'll go over that again before we finish up today. The other big bar that we see right here is the one saying that you need a net ID. This is that new login that you're going to be using eventually for everything. Right now, the library is one of the few places that you are going to be using it. It's that number that starts with a C, and then there's 15 digits, I think, and you had to come up with a very long password. So you do need net ID in order to access the library catalog and request books for pickup, as well as for interlibrary loan. So keep in mind that that is now in place, but you still will be using your e-account and password. That's the information you use to log in to your email and Blackboard for some other things. And I will point those out as we go along. All right. This is the library homepage. And you can see it's CSU Pueblo, csupueblo.edu/library. You can also find it by going to the academics tab here on the university bar. That's at the top of every one of the CSU Pueblo web pages. We're right here. But you'll also see us embedded into your course blackboards. On the left-hand side of your course blackboard, there's a link that says the library website that will take you to this page. And there's a link that says research guide that will take us to one of our specialized research guides to help you out with your research for that class. So this is your social work class. There is a research guide for social work that you will be able to get to through that Blackboard link. Super Search is going to be this big box here in the middle of the home page, and this is where you might want to start a lot of your searches. There's a few different reasons why you want to start at the library's homepage. One, this is where you're going to make sure that you get that whole login with your CSU Pueblo e-account and password to access online resources. Um, think of this like going to the Netflix page and logging in before you can stream all those videos. You have to log in with the right credentials in the right place before you can get access to all of that great online stuff that, in the case of Netflix, that you're paying for, or in the case of these resources, that the library and your student fees pay for. So you want to make sure you're starting here at the CSU Pueblo site so that you can make sure that you can get access to that thing you need. Because if you go to Google Scholar, it might not necessarily ask you, hey, log in with your CSU Pueblo e-account. It'll probably just ask you to pay money for that article. And that's the last thing that we want you to do. If you start a super search, it's going to do exactly what it says here in the search bar. It's going to look for articles, books, and more. So it's a tool that looks at the library's catalog, so the things that we own. It also looks at physical items and online items that we own, and then it looks at a bunch of different databases. Not all of the databases, but quite a few databases, specifically ones that specialize in a broad collection of periodicals and scholarly articles. But that's not everything. The nice thing that Super Search does is that, like I said, it looks across these different types of resources and is a really good place to see what's out there on your topic. You can see when I click here and you see the things that I've been searching recently, that they can be a wide variety of searches. It defaults to a keyword search, which means it looks across all different parts of the things that is in the collection, articles, books, and so forth, to see if these things come up. So I can search by a keyword like video games or business ethics, or I can search by a title like the Memoirs of William Jennings Bryan or the Warren Report, or a subject that might be more specific like mental illness, stigma, and medical professionals. These are all topics I've been helping students with recently. Let's just go ahead and do something nice and broad. Well, what was the last social work topic that I helped someone with? It's kind of a bummer, but let's try. Sibling abuse trauma. Y'all are no stranger to bummer topics in social work. All right, so when I do this quick search, it is looking at a wide variety of resources and picking up the things that it thinks are going to be the most relevant to my results. You can see here that it's sorting by relevance. So it's going to bring up things that have my keywords in its title or that are going to have it as a subject related term. You're also going to see that as I make my search, this Ask a Librarian box pops up. If you click on this, this is going to connect you with a real live librarian, myself or one of my colleagues. It's not just a bot, it's a real person who's going to help you out with your questions. I can't recommend this service enough. It's a really great way to get some on-the-spot help, especially if you're unsure about accessing something or you want some help with trying to narrow your search down. But do keep in mind too that I am always here to help you out with some specialized help, and that there might be an instance where if your librarian says, that's a point to talk to your subject librarian. I'm going to click no thanks because you have a librarian with you already. But I will point out, if you did click that away and then changed your mind, you can always click here on that orange box to bring it back. All right, so this is my search results page, and you're going to get this in any kind of search engine, whether it's Google or the one that powers a database. And what you'll see is some basic information. We're going to see some titles, some author names, years of publication. You can see that there's full text available or online access to all of these books. If I scroll down a little more, you'll see I have a book come up that's part of our physical collection. But this is going to prioritize things that, again, it's a focus of that topic. It's going to look for it in the title, and it's also going to highlight peer-reviewed resources, so things that are coming from those scholarly journals that go through that peer-reviewed process. So as I scroll down, you're going to see a lot of information before I even click on the record for the actual item. As I go through more results, usually you can see them become a little less relevant as you go. You'll see more newspaper articles coming up, less scholarly sources, all of that good stuff. Now, you'll see at the top here that I have over 16,000 results. Some of those, it looks like these are going to be very relevant, but it's always helpful to try and narrow down your results if you can. That's when these filters on the left come in handy. Now, sometimes they're called filters, sometimes they're called refining tools, but they're present across all sorts of different online search tools. You're going to see them in Google's advanced search. You'll see them in different databases, and they'll vary what type of filters are there depending on the database that you're looking at. Our databases are going to, our search engine, Super Search here, is going to have some pretty broad ones, and it's going to focus on limiting to scholarly resources and looking at the subjects because that's what most of our students need help with. But if you go to a more specialized database like, say, PsycInfo, that specializes in psychology research, you'll see that these filters are going to be different. They'll have ones that are for population, gender, age group, things that are very important to psychology research. If I go to a government document database or a case law database, it'll have different filters as well. So my point is not to try and intimidate you by all of these different filters. It's more that they all work similarly, that you're going to find them and that they're helpful tools that are going to make your searching easier. So use them and you're not going to break them. Just try them out and see what happens. So you are doing a lot of research that's focusing on scholarly, peer-reviewed research in your field. So let's make that the focus of all of our demonstrations today on how to limit these to just those scholarly, peer-reviewed sources. I'm also going to focus on online because, hi, we're online right now, but we already know that classes won't be face-to-face after Thanksgiving. Who knows what the next few weeks will look like? So I want to make sure that you are able to access things that you can get your hands on no matter where we all end up. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. So these ones right here are usually what I call the heavy hitters. They're the ones that are going to eliminate the most results for you. And that's limiting to things like ones that we just have access to online. So if I click there, that is going to give me just the ones that are full text or have online access. So you don't have to scroll through them all. You can go through and say, I only want those ones from peer-reviewed journals. So I only want things that are coming from scholarly resources, because while newspaper and magazine articles can be really helpful and help you understand things from a popular perspective, if you're doing research in your field, you really need to know what kind of studies and surveys and all sorts of very specific things are coming up in that realm of study. You'll also maybe want to look at source type, and you can see that articles is the first one. I always recommend clicking there because there's a lot of other stuff in those peer-reviewed journals. It's not just the scholarly articles. They also have book reviews, conference proceedings, and some of those might be really useful to you. Again, it just depends on the situation. If you can see, there's a wide variety of things I could limit myself to. I could also limit it to books and ebooks if I was trying to find things that were just in scholarly book publications. As you scroll down, the next heavy hitter that you'll see is that publication date. This is super helpful, especially if you're looking at a topic that is in flux. I usually recommend starting out by looking at the last 5 years of research on your topic. It's a good way to not throw out anything in past research studies, but trying to make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date information, because the way that we talk about topics changes a lot. The history and narrative and timeline of a topic can change a lot. And I think living through a global pandemic has probably demonstrated to all of us just how quickly the information can change. So keep in mind the publication date. It can be very, very helpful. The next one that I really want to make sure to point out is subject. Now, subject headings are the things that are at the focus of this article or this book. These are the things that it is about. So when we look at any one of these records, there will be things that are listed as the focus of that article. Looking at our bummer of a topic of sibling abuse trauma, you can see that we could focus on the psychiatric perspective of it. We could go to more psychology. We could specifically look at child abuse or full family studies. And you can see also that there's a variety of other terms here that I might want to add to my search. Am I looking at the effect on children in particular or in the mental health, or I want to focus on social work perspective? Let's go ahead and add social work to our filters. And again, this will eliminate things like maybe articles are looking at a psychiatric approach. The last one that I always like to point out is language. We do have results that come up in other languages, and depending on your topic, you might find that there are a lot of results that are in a language that you don't speak. Really quick and easy to say, I only want ones that are in English. More often than not, you don't have to worry about that because it does push the English results to most relevant because that is the native language of our search tool. But you might find that there's a lot of research happening, especially on recent topics in other languages. I was helping a nursing student the other day that was looking at a specific type of research that was being done at a university in China. So almost all of the results that we are finding that were from the last few years were published in Mandarin Chinese because that is where the research is happening. So just keep in mind that language is there for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and apply these filters and see what that does to my 16,000 results. Woo, we're down to 440. That is much, much more manageable. And you can see now that every one of my results now is from a peer-reviewed journal, is available to me in full text, and is listed as an article. So none of those book reviews, none of those conference proceedings or other things. You'll also see just by glancing at the names of these journals, the Journal of I can never say that word, gerontological social work, the Family Journal, Journal of Child and Adolescent Trauma, that these are all taking that social work perspective. I can see all of my filters right here. So if, for example, I decided I wanted to expand beyond social work, I don't have to do my whole search over again. I can just click that out. Maybe I want to see more of a year perspective and go past 2015. I can just X that out. I don't have to start my search all over again. I can also lock all these filters and then put it whatever I want up here, and my filters will remain. So if I'm trying other variations, other keywords, other related topics to my search, but I want to make sure that I'm keeping these filters because this is the type of thing that I'm looking for, I can go ahead and lock those as well. So again, these are tools. They make it easier for you to do the research. They help you out along the way, but you still have to actually click on the title and make sure that it's actually a good fit for whatever topic you're researching. So let's click on the title. I'm going to take a second to pause, and I'm going to go back to the chat. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. So this is what we call the item record. It's the actual record with more information about just this article. Thank you, Savra. I appreciate the head shake. This is going to, again, have the information where you can access it, which very, very important. But if we scroll down, there's going to be other tools. One is going to have the full citation information. It'll have an abstract or a summary. If it's an ebook, often a table of contents, all sorts of things that are going to just give you that additional information that'll let you know, yes, this is on track to what I'm researching. This is actually going to be relevant to my studies. Or was it just a snappy title that got my attention? Because there's a lot of snappy titles out there. People love trying to make their title snappy. The other things that you'll see are some other tools. This little link here, if we click on it, it will show me other articles that cite this article. So a big part of research is letting one good resource, one good article, one good book with a reference list lead you to other resources. This is a great way of seeing where else this article might have been cited and who else has built on that research. And what's really nice about these tools is not only is that they're probably going to be relevant to what you're researching, but guess what? These are all other things that you can cite. And next thing you know, you might have all the resources that you need to do your research in one place. It can be like a little treasure chest. And we're going to just go ahead and go back to that article. Now, if I clicked on any one of those, it would have just given me the same record page like we saw here with the access and so on. In addition to the details of the article here, if I scroll down further, there's some really, really handy tools. These are going to be ways that you can get back to this article again. Because remember, like I said, do you want to be able to get to the article in the CSU Public Catalog so that you can be prompted to log in with your e-account and password and get that whole thing without paying for it? So if you are a person who uses RefWorks, EndNote, EasyBib, any one of these citation management tools, you can send this information directly to those. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine as well. Or if you're curious, please feel free to reach out to me. These are basically tools that allow you to organize all sorts of different citations and resources in one place and then use those to make bibliographies. Come in very handy if you're doing large-scale research projects or writing a thesis or dissertation. Other ones that are handy, this right here, email, will email all of this information in this record to your email of choice, so you have it all in one place. Oh, I apologize, our screen is blurry. I will stop moving my screen. Hopefully that'll take care of it. Okay. No, not helping? All right, I will go very, very slowly and tell you what you should be seeing. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. All right, so in addition to a little icon that looks like an envelope and says email, that one is going to, like I said, we'll email you all this information. There are icons that you can click on to print this out. There's another one that looks like a paper clip or a link. That's a permalink, and a permalink is exactly what it sounds like. It is a link to this page that is permanent. So if you copy and paste the URL that's in your browser window, that's going to be a dead link, usually within an hour. You want to have a permanent link back to this page, and it will ask you again to log in with your e-account and password so you can get access to it. No problem. And then the other one here looks like a little quotation mark. It says citation. If I click on that, it will generate a citation for this article for me. You'll see if you go through the catalog and see this that there's an option for several different citation styles. I personally use APA, and I imagine that's what you're using in this class as well. But if you're taking a class that uses MLA or Chicago Turabian, there's all sorts of different citation generators out there for you. I point these out because there is no reason for you to be able to freehand a citation. There's a lot more important things for you to use your valuable brain space for than to try and be able to memorize all these different citation styles. Use these tools, check it against a citation guide. We have access to most of them online, these books online. There's a whole slew of citation guides out there, including the Purdue OWL, and ones of resources we have available on our website. And then just make sure that they look accurate. And it's going to save you a lot of time and energy. Okay, so I am going to scroll back up. I apologize. And before we leave this record, I'm going to just point out how you would access it. So when we click on the item title and go to this record, there's going to be the link here that says online access. And if I click that, it'll take me to whichever databases I have access to this article through. So in this case, I have access to this article through Sage Premier. Sometimes we have access to them for multiple journals. And to get to the full text, I would just click on this link. And because I'm on campus, it is going to just push me straight through to the article. If I was off campus, I would be prompted to log in with my e-account and password before getting to this screen here that will have the article and an option to download the PDF. Now, this page is going to look a little different depending on the database, but they're always going to have some information about the article or a list of the articles in that issue of the journal. You click on it to get to the page, it'll have that PDF. And again, if you're confused or having any struggles getting access to it, it's a great time to reach out to the librarian and chat. I'm going to go ahead and close that. One last thing to point out here, right under the link to the database is a link that says CSU Pueblo Interlibrary Loan. Now, I have access to this article and every other article in our current list because I clicked on ones that were online at CSU Pueblo. But sometimes you're going to search for a title of an article that you found for reference for in another great article, and we might not have access to that. That's where you want to click on that CSU Pueblo Interlibrary Loan link, and it will ask you to log in with your new net ID. And what that will do, it'll open up a form that then goes to our interlibrary loan librarian, who will call libraries all over the world, literally, to try and find this article or book chapter or what have you someplace else and make it available to you. They will do everything they can to get you access to it. And I'm letting Savra interject to the class here. Okay, great. The big takeaway here is that we make as much available to you as we can, and then we will do everything we can to get the other things for you as well. So don't hesitate to reach out. Don't ever pay for an article. Yes, I will do everything I can to get you access to it. And honestly, if we can't, then there's probably another article that's going to do just as well. Now, remember how I said SuperSearch looks across a large selection of our databases? It doesn't look at everything. And that's what we're going to look at now, because there are ways for you to ask us for it, and there's a way for us to get other places to look at. Just don't ever, ever, ever pay for something without reaching out to us first. Okie dokie. I appreciate you saying that much, Savra. That's very, very true. And again, you have a friendly librarian who works with your faculty, with your class, so don't hesitate to reach out to me directly or say, hey, librarian in the chat, is there can I get this through another database, or do I need to request it for interlibrary loan? Okie dokie. So what I'm going to spend the rest of my time with you talking about, probably the next 15 minutes, and then I'm going to try and leave as much time for questions as possible, are the research guides and the databases. You'll see these linked at the top of our search results right up here. But if I go back and click on Super Search on the library homepage, these are also available down here at the bottom. The advanced search link is going to do just what it says. It's going to give you multiple search boxes. It's going to allow you to say, I want to search by title, by subject, by keyword, all that good stuff. And I can find that really to be really useful if I'm searching for things by a specific author. But more often than not, I know that I'm researching for things under a subject. And if I hit a black hole or a wall in Super Search, I can be frustrated and figure, where else can I go? Well, there's a couple things you can do. The first thing that I would recommend would be to check out our research guides. Now, I am the librarian for social work. We have a librarian who partners with every single college here at CSU Pueblo. So there is somebody who is overseeing these guides, working with the faculty, teaching that subject, and making sure that the resources we there are a good fit. So if we scroll down, you'll see pretty much every topic that we teach here is going to have some guides associated. If we click on social work, you see that we have some that are actually for specific courses. As you can imagine, sometimes there's going to be a specific subset of information that you're teaching in a course that might need more specialized resources. But at the top, there's always going to be a broad subject guide for those. Now, what we do in these subject guides, aside from making sure that your librarian's face is there along with their contact, email me, if you have any questions, is we kind of make this a specialty store of resources that we think are going to be most useful to your research. So I don't have government agencies on my English literature guide because they won't be using it, but you all will. So these are going to be highlighted organizations and agencies that are going to be useful to your research because of the information and work that they have. This link here will take you to databases, articles, and journals that we suggest as the best resources for social work. So you can see that we have social services abstracts, sociological abstracts, social index, psych info, the National Criminal Justice Reference Service abstracts database from ProQuest. These are all databases that specialize in specific types of information that are going to be useful to you. So again, Social Index, sociology core journals. These are going to be the biggest and most significant scholarly journals in your field of sociology and social work. Take a look at those. Psych info, same sort of thing, but it's going to again specialize in the psychological approach. The books and ebooks tab is going to show you some reference titles that we have that we think are most useful, some ebooks that we currently have and how to search for those. And then there's some information about requesting books. Again, interlibrary loan is going to be a great bet for helping you out. when it comes to things that we don't have, never, ever, ever pay for it. And then lastly, there is links out to 2 other big guides. The first one is our research tips and tricks guide. This is just going to have some basic information on using our library website. I've worked at several universities and even more at libraries, and I have to say they're all a little bit different. So even if you feel confident that you were really good working at a library website or you're really confident with searching, don't feel badly if you're like, this doesn't work the way that I think it does, because they all are a little bit different. This guide here is going to have a bunch of just basic information that will help you out when it comes to how do I use the databases here? How do I refine my results? It's going to go into a lot more depth of a lot of the things that we touched on today. It is also going to have a tab here for Google Scholar. This little slideshow here is going to show you how to link Google Scholar to your CSU Pueblo email and your CSU Pueblo library account. What that does is it means that if you use Google Scholar, because Google Scholar is very, very powerful. Google has a lot of money to put into it to make it a very helpful search tool. And you find an article there that you want to make sure that the library has, you can link it to your library account so that when you do find that Google Scholar search result list, there'll be a little icon that says find it at CSU Pueblo that will automatically search the library catalog to see if we have access to it for you. And this little slideshow here will walk you through that. So these are all tools that you're going to use to help you find the best resources for your research. It's just about making them do some of the work for you. And then there's also a link out here to our citation guides. Like I said, you do not need to memorize these styles. There's a huge number of online resources available to help you out. Many of you have probably already seen the Purdue OWL at some point in your schooling. It's a really, really robust resource. I really like CiteSource from Trinity College. It has a lot of really helpful things for online citing. But all of these information are here. I'm happy to help you find the things you're looking for in these resources. But I will also give a very heavy nod to the Writing Center because they do fantastic work working with you as a student to make sure that your in-text citations are correct, that your bibliography is properly formatted, that you're doing the writing part of it and the paraphrasing part of it well. So if you have questions about that, take advantage of the Writing Center. I can't recommend it enough, and they're offering face-to-face and online services now. Oh, they're all online now, I believe. Yes. I know that they're doing some really good online stuff. So not sure if they're meeting face-to-face anymore. I'd have to check with them to be sure, but I believe they're doing both, and I know for a fact that they're doing a lot of really good stuff online. So take advantage of that. They will give you one-on-one attention. It's just an invaluable resource. I can't recommend it enough. We also have some help videos that will walk you through, again, some of the things that we talked today. We are continually adding to those. So if you need some help and you think that there'd be a good use for a video on that, please don't hesitate to let me know. I don't know what you're struggling with until you let me know a lot of the time. And I'm a librarian. If there's one thing that librarians like to do, it's help. All right, let's go ahead and close that. Like I said, this is all in the social work guide. So we do recommend some databases here that you may want to look at. We also recommend some social work journals that might be useful to you. But if I close this off and then go back over here, you can see that I can actually go and look at all of the journals that I have access to. By clicking on journal search, I can search for a specific journal by its title. So perhaps you're doing some research and you're finding that all of the good articles are being published on, that are being published on your topic in the same journal. You could just look for that here. You can also look by category and browse by subject, or you can use that databases link that's also in the super search box. And that will take you to a list of all of the different databases we have. So just to clarify, you have a database, and a database holds a lot of things. Sometimes there's just a bunch of different journals. Sometimes it's a collection of ebooks. It's a collection of streaming videos. The database is the collection of the things, and then the journal, the book, the article, those are the things in the database. But the nice thing about a database is, like I said, it's kind of like a specialty store. So they don't just have every single journal. They have journals and other resources that are kind of around a specific topic. So you're going to see by glancing here, Yeah, it is a lot like this, like an internet search engine. A lot of what you use are the tools to do the searching, right? EBSCOhost, ProQuest, these things that we see in the database names, they're not the database. They own the database tool that you use to search it. SuperSearch is the tool that we use to search the library's database. So you're using the tools to search the things in Academic OneFile or to search the things in Academic Search Premier. And like that title says, Academic OneFile and Academic Search Premier specialize in academic scholarly publications. Ad access, just what it sounds like, has advertisements and propaganda from a lot of different North American sources. It's really interesting. Whereas agricultural collection is going to look at agriculture. So you can imagine how each one of these is going to have very different information and how one might be useful to you and one not so much. So I can go in and I can say, I want only the databases that are useful to social work and look and browse that way. It'll give me some best bets whenever I browse by a subject. So yeah, that's a very good question, Daveen. Are we able to use these databases for our research or stick with the library? These databases are part of the library collection. Okay, so you can either search for super search, which will look across several databases at once and the library's actual collection, or you can go to these databases that we have access to and search with them and search just within their specialized collections. So you can search for sibling abuse trauma in the university library super search and get a wide, I will be with you, I'll hold in just a second, and get a wide variety of results. Or I can go and I can search that same topic in, say, the Encyclopedia of Race, Ethnicity, and Society and just find resources that relate to it under that topic. All right, I will hold. Sabra, let me know when we're good. Oh, I am sorry to hear, but we're having some tech issues. Okay. I appreciate you all keeping me in the loop of your tech issues and having patience. Remember, I am recording this and I will make it available to you all online by the end of the day today so that you can go back and watch again. And if you need any one-on-one help, if you'd like to go back over any of this, again, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one over Zoom or talk over email, whatever works best for you. I can even get onto the phone. Okay. So like I said, you can go and you can take a look at these specific resources for a more specialized search. Let's take a quick look at Credo reference because I think that's a really handy one because it has a lot of reference books. Now, I'm just going to point out really quickly that this looks different than the other databases that we have, but it's going to work very similarly in that there's a search box, and then once we've made a search, let's try post-traumatic. Let's try PTSD. I will get a different type of information. Because this is a reference database, it's going to have a lot of reference materials for me. It's going to have some other types of resources. So just keep in mind that even though the filters are going to be a little different in different places, you still have that option to filter your results. In this case, we can do type, subject, dates, even the length of the article. And then there's other resources that might be helpful to you depending on the database that you're looking at. So if you are doing some research and Super Search is not helping you out, if you feel like you're just not finding the right time of things, that's a great time to reach out to me as your librarian or to drop into that chat and say, hey, this is the topic I'm researching. What might be a good database for me to look at? I'm not finding as much stuff as I would like in Super Search. All right. I am going to go ahead and close out these tabs and head back to the home page. And I'm going to just try and open up the rest of the session for any questions. If there is something research related you would like me to talk about or demonstrate or show here on the screen, I'm happy to. I know we're having some issues seeing the screen clearly. So if you just have some general questions, I'm happy to stop sharing my screen and just put my face front and center. But I will take a moment to breathe, and Savra, you can let me know if you're getting any questions. Oh, great. I love questions. When am I available? Good question. I am a compulsive email checker. That is really the best way to get in touch with me right now. I try and limit myself to checking my email during the 8 to 5 hours. I'm not very good at it, but please do give me one day to respond to one business day to respond to your emails. I'm getting a lot of questions right now. So don't hesitate to reach out that way. I am on campus one day a week, and can help pull things on campus for you that way, and I'm open to face-to-face if that is the best option for you. But my schedule is very flexible right now, except for when I'm teaching classes to classes like you. So reach out to me. I'm more than happy to schedule my time around you to make myself available for you. That being said, I know for some folks, phone and talking is the best, and for others, email is the best. So please just contact me in whichever way you feel most comfortable doing. But keep in mind that I am not going to reply to an email you send me at 9 p.m. on a Thursday until the next morning. That being said, the chat with a librarian is available during all of our regular hours and some on the weekend, so please do take that advantage of that. Any one of our librarians can help you get started or answer like some basic access questions, all that good stuff, and they will do everything they can until they get to the point where like, maybe you should talk to your subject expert. Good question. Thank you. I am on campus on Thursdays, so if you really want to catch me on the phone, that's probably the best day to do it. I know I'm very quiet this right now too. I will be honest with y'all. I'll be shutting my face down pretty hard after we finish our sessions. Zooms are exhausting. It is a Zoom thing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the share, and just to wrap up, please don't hesitate to contact me. I am your first stop at the library. Please feel free to use me that way. If I don't have the answer, I will happily throw you to the expert. Librarians are pretty good about saying, I don't know that, but let me help you find out. So if you don't know if this is the right place to ask, please feel free to use me as your first stop. The worst that'll happen is I refer you to someone else, and it's not because I don't want to help you, it's because I'm trying to help you in the best way that I can. I know that the NetID e-account thing is a little bit confusing. I'm still getting the hang of it myself. So if you have any issues with there, like I said, chat is a great place to check it out, or feel free to contact me directly if you need a friendly face. I know that that makes a difference. So please don't hesitate to use me as that. And then lastly, I'll just remind you that there's a lot of other helpful resources on campus right now, even if we aren't all actually on campus. The Writing Center, the Gen Ed Tutoring Center, the Math Tutoring Center, all of our tutoring centers are available online. Everybody is making a really hard push on making sure that these things are available to you wherever you might end up during this whole global pandemic thing. Okay. I am going to say one last time, thank you for your time. Am I very busy? I am very busy right now, meeting with all of the different classes in Chaz, just trying to do these kind of, oh, do not feel bad contacting me. Okay, this is the thing, and Sabra, you know what I mean, no offense by this. Um, I love hearing from students. I love hearing from you even more than I love hearing from our faculty, and I really, really like our faculty because you're coming up with new questions and you're coming at these subjects with new perspectives that I haven't heard before, and that's what gets my mind going and spinning and gets me excited. So your faculty, they're excellent and they're really wonderful resources, but they've been researching the same thing for a very long time, very, very in depth. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It really is a joy for me to be able to help you out with your question, even if it feels infinitesimal to you. It's a big deal to me to be able to help you out. So there you go. How can I help on your paper? Good question. That's a good place to go ahead and wrap this up. So as you start researching your topic, if you pick your topic and you start having this topic in mind and you're looking through super search and you're using the different databases and you're struggling and you need some ideas and other places to look, other keywords to try out, that is a wonderful time to reach out to me. If you're having trouble getting access to an article or an ebook that you think is going to be indispensable and you can't figure out how to request it, that's a great time to contact me. If you are unsure if a article you found is scholarly, if it seems like it's credible, but you're having a hard time figuring out its source, that's a great time to contact me. So I'm here to help you with the information and research part of it. If you need someone to go over your citations and make sure they're formatted correctly or that you're paraphrasing well, that's the writing center. They'll be excellent for that. If you need help with your e-account and NetID because they're not working, that's the help desk. But when it comes to finding the things for your papers, to thinking about how to expand your topic, where should I be looking, how do I get this book that I keep seeing everywhere and every article that I'm reading but doesn't seem to be in our catalog, that can help with that. Citation software, I can help you with that. I'm by no means an expert, but you do get free access to EndNote online as a CSUP student. So it's a great tool, and there are lots and lots of really helpful videos online for that. I like EndNote. I think EndNote and RefWorks are probably my favorites. They both work very similarly. Um, Use the one that you have access to. And in this case, you have free access to EndNote. You can access EndNote from the database list on the library website. Just click on E in that alphabetical list and it'll be right there for you. You'll log in, you'll set up an account, and then you're all set. And you can then use those little links at the bottom of each article to send all of that citation information, including the permalink, right to your EndNote files, organize them, all stuff like that. Savra, if after you explained it, if you want to do a session, I am happy to do that. And in fact, I'm working on a EndNote tutorial right now for psychology. So yeah, it's a great tool. And like I said, you've heard me say tool lots today. That's because the things that I'm helping you with, they're the tools to find the information. Like I said, Savra and the wonderful social work faculty, which you're really lucky to be working with, they're the experts in the content. They're the ones who are going to be able to give those real world examples and let you know what these theories and philosophies mean behind the work. I'm going to be the one that's going to be able to help you break down that idea and then figure out where are the right places to look. So we're all here to help you out with this process. But I'm much more useful to you at the beginning of the whole thing than I am when you're trying to find a source that you want that says the thing you wanted to 48 hours before your paper's due. So this will be my last little soapbox thing that I give most students. Research is what we call an iterative process. It's not a straight line. You don't say, here's my topic, here's what I think here's my research question, here's what I think the answer is going to be, and then I'm just going to find the things that get me there. You start with a topic, you start doing some research, you become a little bit of an expert in your topic, and then you say, okay, this is my question. Maybe you find out that your original question wasn't a good one as you start reading more about your topic. So you're basically making a circle. You're going back and forth as you go along till you get to this final idea where you're bringing together all these different ideas and then adding your 2 cents to them. So as you're going through that circle, as you're rethinking your question and figuring out where you should be looking, reach out to me early on because that's what's going to lead you to that final answer, that final paper, that final project is the resources and the references that you find. And like I said, you find one good one, you go through that research, its references list or its bibliography, it can lead you to everything else that you might need on your research topic. So let the research guide you along the path and try not to have expectations on what it is that you're going to find. I spend a lot of time helping students trying to take square pegs out of round holes. All right. Any final thoughts? Any questions about the building? I know that LARC is a is a central part of everybody's campus, right? Of the campus for everybody. All right. No, no, no. So the library is open. LARC is open to faculty, staff, and students. We are closed to the public. So if you are associated with CSUP as a faculty, staff, or student, you still can come into the LARC. The floors 1, 2, and 3 are open in a limited way. We don't have the bookshelves open, which is why you do need to request the books through the catalog, but then we will make those available for you at the checkout desk or for curbside pickup. The big thing was that we still had some members of our community coming in to check out books and use computers until today. That was the email that came in. Yes, so you can come in but not wander around. There are some study spaces. We still have some study rooms on floors 2 and 3 that you have access to. And of course, there's technology rooms on floor 1 that you still have access to. But there's only one person per room. We do have the computer set up so that you can socially distance, and you do have to wear a mask at all times in any part of the building. I believe they're even asking at this point that if you have food and drink, that you take it outside of the building, that there won't be any food or drink inside the campus buildings because people were using that as an excuse to wear chin masks. Um, but it is a moving target. I know that it's confusing. We are relying on the information that we're getting from campus every week, and it is going to change. But you do still have access to the LARC. You still have access to the library. You just can't go and wander the bookshelves. We still have everything available to you. It just takes a little bit of planning to get the book into your hand. But honestly, you don't have to go find it anymore. We'll pull it for you, and then you just pick it up. So it's kind of nice. And if you have any questions about those processes, reach out to me, and I will get you in the right direction and get you the right number to call. Cool. Any other questions about the building? All right, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you all. I appreciate your time, and I'll make this available ASAP and share that link with Savra.